All of the food we eat and much of the clothing we wear comes from plants and animals that are raised on farms. Farms are different in type, in size, and even in name.
Welcome to Barn Talk. What happens at the barn stays in the barn. Until today. We're going to let it all out for you guys. Today is going to be a Barn Talks Hot Topics episode. We're going to be talking about athletes buying farmland, AI and what that all entails, and consumerism and what that means for society. Is it a positive thing? Is it a negative thing? All those fun topics are going to get discussed today. But before we get into the show, if you guys get any value from the show, you know what to do. You know the drill. Pay the fee. Share it out with your friends, family, coworkers, employees, whoever. The more you guys share the show, the better guests we can have on, the better content we can create, the more content we can create for you guys. We love doing it, and we appreciate every single one of you that have been paying the fee because we see you posting it on your social. There's so many people that we've gotten emails or comments saying that they got told by a coworker or told by a friend, so we really do appreciate that. You can also leave a review on Spotify or Apple. We're getting real damn close to 500 5-star reviews on Spotify, which is amazing, and we're in the 200s on Apple, so thank you for that as well. And if you have any questions for our Barn Talk Q&A episodes, submit them at barntalkshow@gmail.com, or you could always comment on YouTube if you're watching. That's where also we can receive some questions. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, we got a market update sponsored by nobody, but is done by the best person to possibly ever do a market update. Torque the man here.
Boy, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I feel special.
I have to build you up a little bit sometimes.
I know I need it. It's a good thing that these topics are so hot because it's kind of cold in the barn today. We didn't turn the heat on quite soon enough, and it's pretty windy. So the barn heats up pretty well unless it's real windy. Then it takes a little longer, and we didn't start it quite soon enough. And I picked a piss poor week to get a haircut. I had this big mop of hair, and I didn't realize how much of a chill that was going to put on me when I got rid of that. But my vanity, you can't put a price on vanity. So anyway, yes, market update. There's a lot going on. Today was a big day because there was a lot of grain reports that came out. So I have the closing market data on the board, but I don't have what the cash bids are. So I didn't go ahead and put them on because they're all going to be higher when those post. But the U.S. ending stocks for corn came in at 10.8 billion versus 11.15 billion is what the guess was. So about 375,000 bushel less than what they thought. 375 million bushels less. Got to get your decimal point in the right spot. Soybeans came in at 302 billion versus 3.13. And then once that happened, we were off to the races. Corn closed up 14 cents, beans up 26. So until this came out today, we were messing around every day on the long-range forecasts about whether or not how dry it was in Argentina. So Brazil, their crop is pretty much made. They've had plenty of rain. Actually, they're a little too wet. So some people are speculating that they could have some loss because it's so wet for them to get into the fields. And the longer it is wet, the more it slows harvest, the more they're going to lose. But you're kind of splitting hairs on that unless you had something very major happen. But it's been dry in Argentina, and that's kind of what the trade has been going off of. But with this report today, I'd say that news is kind of out the window because it doesn't really matter what their crop is. The top estimate, I think, is in, and anything below that is just going to add fuel to prices, I believe, because now we're in a situation where all the speculation is going to be how many acres of corn are going to get planted versus how many acres of beans, and what our weather here is going into spring, because we have to raise a big crop to cap off the shortfall that everybody thinks now that we have. So it's going to run on speculation, but the grain prices for 2023 on corn and beans are definitely going to be pretty volatile going forward, I think. Corn today closed at $6.71 and these are all for the nearby contracts. Beans $15.29. Wheat was $7.42. Hogs $78.75. Boy, I'm glad I'm not selling hogs right now, because if you're feeding $6.56 corn to a hog that you're getting $78 a hundred on, I don't think you can stretch that quite far enough to make that work. Better be hedged. Better have somebody that's got your shit hedged pretty well to make that work. Cattle $157. Cattle that's it. It stays right around there every time I look it up. Oil $78.63. That was up a little bit today. Gold's $1,900. Gold's been working up a little bit. Silver $23. Bitcoin, I'm happy to say Bitcoin made it out of the gutter, at least for a few days. It was 18,860 the last time I looked, so it's been floating around 16,000 for a long time. It's got a little fire under it. Ethereum 1,400. Cardano 33 cents. Tesla actually has worked up a little bit, $123. Still a buy, in my opinion, but it's working the right way. I threw Meta in there just as a reference to where this market is. So Meta today was 137. The 52-week high is 335, and I think the all-time high might be like 388, and that's share split adjusted. Amazon, kind of the same boat. $95 today versus their high of 170, and that's their true 52-week high. I'm not sure if their all-time high is higher than that, but that kind of tells you these tech stocks have taken a beating. Mm-hmm. And all that market data is courtesy of Cat's Grain, Washington, Iowa. Shout out to those guys. Yeah. Good people there at Cat's Grain.
They are. They're damn good people. So
I like that. That was even concise.
That was concise. I think you brought a lot of knowledge, and it was pretty quick.
I know I'm looking to sell some corn.
You're getting faster. You're looking to sell some corn.
I'm going to empty the bin. I'm going to let this rally eat a little bit and then wait for some hog feeder that goes out and checks their bin and goes, dang, we ain't got enough corn. Run that bid up a little bit. I'm going to clean it out.
Any reasoning behind that?
Well, I think this rally is going to get us back to the highs we had, probably higher than where we were the end of December. I think the high was somewhere around the 30th of December, nearby anyway, and I think this is going to push us past that. And then if you get on top of that, somebody that needs corn and is willing to up their bid a little bit, I think it's time to move it. So, I don't know. I could turn around and buy it back for summer, get a call option and see, but I don't know if I'm smart enough to do that. So yeah, I'm going to a corn marketing meeting on the 17th, so I'll come home with all kinds of good
knowledge.
Ideas. Yeah, I can really lose us some money then.
I hope not. We want to be making the money, not losing it. Come on now.
All right.
So the first topic on today's Hot Topics episode.
I wondered when you were going to work in.
I know. I gotta get the hot topics.
We need to get that just on a button.
We need to hit the button. Yeah, we do. We totally do.
Maybe not.
I don't know. It might bleed. It might make people's ears bleed. I don't know. I like it because it kind of sounds a little bit like Hot Pocket.
I know.
It has that nice chime to it. So
all across America.
Let us know if you like the hot topics or just hot topics.
All across America, dogs are barking when they hear that.
They probably don't
howling,
like it.
Probably.
Yep.
Okay, what are we going to talk about
So first topic of today's episode is consumerism. And this is something that Dad's been wanting to talk about for a couple weeks now. He is sick and tired of all the consumerism going around all across social media, but just everywhere. It's just kind of anywhere you look, there's ads here, ads there, people peddling this, people peddling that. And sometimes it just gets overwhelming, and sometimes if it's not from the right person and it's not the right product, it just seems like a scam. And so you can kind of dive into it because I don't want to steal your thunder because I know you wanted to. I'll touch on it a little bit, but
so I'll give you my little bit of backstory on it, and what Sawyer means by that is, okay, just about all of us, we're all doing something to make a living, and a lot of us are selling things to make a living, or we're working somewhere that makes something that has to be sold for us to make a living. That's
Capitalism, baby.
And we're no different. If you check out our farm channel, This Will Do Farm, we've had a sponsorship with a company called Barn Tools since we started that, and we use their alarm system. So we kind of peddle that. We do a bid every once in a while, has that in there. Okay. To me, I'm willing to do that because we use their product, we believe in it, we think it's good, and when we tell you about it, you look at it and go, well, these guys use it, maybe I'm interested, maybe I'm not. What drives me crazy and what we're seeing, and I feel like it just gets bigger all the time, is social media influencers on whatever platform you are that they're peddling, everything. You want to know where I got this chair? Link in the description. You want to know this is the mic we use? Link in the description. Link in the description. And that's fine. But then you get to the point where I'm selling earrings and turquoise jewelry. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not very believable at that. And just because somebody's willing to give me money to peddle it doesn't mean that I should do that. And then next month you come back and I'm peddling some other brand of watch or this or that. So very quickly, we all get jaded to that. And that's part of the reason why traditional media, to me, is failing, is because they don't have any authenticity. When we sit down, like if I sit down to watch a football game, I know there's going to be commercials, but I know that that is just, all that is paid advertising. Nobody believes any of the crap that they're doing. They're just putting it in front of you, hoping that you look at it and go, oh, I might like to try that or whatever. On social media, that's part of the draw that I think social media was to start with, was a lot of it was real people, showing what they do, showing what their interests are. And then there was a lot of people that they had a product that they used and they ended up partnering with that company. And that's believable because that's authentic.
Makes sense for your brand.
But now it's like people are just peddling everything. Mm-hmm. And I guess what my point is, as somebody that creates content, is I think a lot of these people don't understand on the creator side, you are doing yourself damage that you're trading short-term gain for long-term damage to your brand because you are not authentic. And once people look at you and decide, oh, well, this guy, shit, he'll hawk anything, and I don't believe him because I don't believe he really uses that. Okay, well, if they don't believe that you're truthful and honest in what you're doing, then what are they going to believe that you're truthful and honest in? Maybe I'm not saying that.
No,
right,
I think I get what you mean. Like if you're what you're selling is they don't believe that that's what you use, then maybe your content's full of shit too. Yeah. Or whatever you do is full of shit too. That's 100% what I would agree with you there. You nailed that right on the head. I mean, what you're seeing now, and I didn't even hear about it. I heard it from Dad, but everybody's peddling these Stanley Cups. I don't know if any of you in the comments or listening or watching have heard or seen these new cups have come out. They're called the Stanley Cup. They're pretty much a glorified bigger Yeti. And now everybody's getting these Stanley Cups, and everyone's peddling these Stanley Cups. I haven't seen it, but apparently everybody else has seen it. And it's just another example of like, that's just kind of a gimmick product of you're just trying to get a quick buck out of that.
Yeah.
Like for us and our brand, you guys would know if a whiskey company came to us, that makes sense for our brand because we love whiskey, right? But a Stanley Cup, I don't really have any interest, selling a Stanley Cup because that doesn't really do much for us. You know what I mean? And it doesn't make sense for what we talk about. It's not really a part of us. You hit the nail right on the head there where you were talking about brands that don't understand that they're just shooting themselves in the foot long term. You cannot be a creator and peddle every little thing and every single person that hits you in the Gmail or in the DM saying, peddle this for me. it's not good for you. It's not good for your brand. It's not good for the people that watch and listen to you for you. You know, you're not really being authentic at all.
Yeah. So a good example of what you're just talking about with that Stanley Cup. So you've seen us, because we have cups, and we don't even sell these. We should sell them, but we don't sell them. We had our local hardware store has a laser deal that will put your logo on a Yeti cup. And we've had them for a long time. Great cup, love it. It'd be like you tuning in one day and that cup's gone, and I've got a Stanley Cup here, and I tell you how great these Stanley Cups are, and you're like, well, geez, you guys have had a Yeti in there forever. It's that kind of stuff that, so the brand is shooting themselves in the foot because they're using somebody that isn't authentic. The creator is shooting themselves because now then they've sold out their personal brand for a quick gain. And you as a consumer, you feel like, well, what else is not real about these guys? And you've invested the time. I think that's the thing that marketers and product and companies don't realize, is that for a lot of these creators and content creators, they have an audience that has invested a lot of time watching them, and they kind of feel like, you know, we kind of feel like we know each other. And now then you're like, where's this coming from? And I think it's just bad all the way around. And I will add, what got me started on this was I saw a bit about the Stanley Cup, and I'd never even heard of it before. And then I watched it, and I asked my wife about it. I said, have you seen this? And she goes, her total reaction was, oh, yeah. She said, so many of these women that I follow on Instagram that have home decor channels that do stuff in their house, they all have Stanley Cups now, and they're all talking about how this new color is coming out, and they got to get this new color, and next month they'll have a different color. And she goes, that is like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I went through today, and I unfollowed like 25 people that I'm just tired of seeing their stuff. And I got to thinking about it, and I was like, well, I don't think that my wife is any different than a lot of people, a lot of consumers that are just getting to the point where they're fed up. They're tired of it. And the whole reason that we went to social media over traditional media is because we were tired of, we wanted authenticity, and we didn't want to be marketed to with crap that we didn't want. And now then it's coming because the money is following where the eyes are. And so I'd like to say that this is a wake-up call, but we may just be getting started, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think though that there are a lot of people that are it's just like in mom's shoes. They're going to weed that out. They are. And those creators aren't going to be as valuable to brands because they're not going to convert anything. They're not going to make any sales. And the creator's they're going to shoot themselves in the foot and continue to do so until they have no loyal following that actually likes them for them. And I just want to say one thing. We're not anti-sponsorship. We're not anti-doing partnerships with businesses or brands. But you just got to make sure they're right for what you create content on. Because it's everything we've said. You're shooting yourself in the foot, and you don't want to do your audience a disservice. You know, you really don't. We value what you guys bring to our relationship. You guys spend the time, and we would just feel kind of guilty and just feel dirty. Yeah, just kind of feel dirty about peddling a product that you don't even use or haven't even tried out or doesn't really fit what you're up to. So not saying we're anti-sponsorship or partnership or working with brands. Just make sure it's the right fit for what you're creating content on. Because at the end of the day, we want to make money doing this, you know, and you guys get that. This is a business. We love doing this, but we don't want to do it for free forever. But we want to partner with brands that it makes sense, and you guys, you know, you feel like it makes sense, and it works for us. So that might mean that we got to wait a longer time before we can make some money from sponsorships on here. But that's okay with me. I'm willing to wait longer to make sure we partner with the right brands rather than doing the shortcut and shooting ourselves in the foot and losing credibility and losing our authenticity.
Yeah.
So.
I have faith in all of you that when the day comes that we do feature a product on here, that if it doesn't pass the sniff test, I'm sure you're all going to let us know.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're
but
not going to try to peddle you anything that we wouldn't use ourselves, and it's got to be quality shit.
It is. Because this is a quality-ass podcast.
You damn right it is.
Yeah, so...
Best podcast there is shot in a barn.
That's right. Damn right. Might be the only one shot in a barn.
Makes it the best.
That's right. Yeah, so I agree with you on consumerism. I'm tired of the bullshit, and I truly have weeded out a lot of creators that are that way. I really don't follow many creators that peddle shit left and right that doesn't make sense with what they do.
Yeah.
It's just, nobody likes it. So that is consumerism. First hot topic. Next hot topic is, now this might get a little doomy gloomy now, so just buckle up here because we're gonna go way out left field here, and we don't have all the answers. Nobody has all the answers, but this is some scary ass shit, and it's coming no matter what. So just strap yourself in. But those of you that listen to and watch Barn Talk, you're gonna be ahead of the curve because you're hearing it here in 2022 or 2023. Sorry, I'm losing my marbles. So it's AI. We're going to talk about AI. And
we're not breeding sows.
Not breeding sows. Not that kind of AI. Nope. This is artificial intelligence, if you didn't know what AI was. And it became accessible to the public for the first time through a free tool called ChatGPT. And we talked about this on previous podcasts. I don't know. It came out probably a month and a half, 2 months ago. And pretty much what it is it's this AI software platform that you could type in a script or
an idea
for a script, and it could print out or write out a whole essay for you on the World War II. If you wanted to have it say summarize World War
of World War II from a young Japanese sailor's perspective.
Yeah,
and it would
shoot it out,
give it to you,
and then you can make corrections to that same prompt or script that it gave you or essay that it gave you, and you could make it a little bit darker.
It's crazy how good it is, and I'll give you a real easy way to look at like how it works. I've seen people on TikTok that have used it. I saw a guy that took like the Immigrant Song from Led Zeppelin and told the AI to make artwork based on the lyrics of that song, and then they put them on TikTok and they put the pictures on synced to the music, and it's cool. It's cool as shit. It's so neat. So
was that ChatGPT or was that a different platform?
No, that was ChatGPT.
Oh, it gave him pictures, all that stuff too.
Yep.
See, so I guess it can. I didn't know that it can take words and turn it into pictures, videos, whatever. And I mean, this is the first real thing that you're seeing. This is the first platform or thing that you're seeing that's been released to us as the people. And this is just the beginning.
Aren't they already on the third software version?
I think this is the third generation. So just think about iPhone. Like first iPhone rolled out, iPhone 1, 2, 3. What are we at now? Like 14, 15, something like that. I don't even know. But this doesn't worry me right now because it's 3 and it's really, really smart now. But just think about ChatGPT 40. You know, the thing about AI that's the scariest thing is it learns. All that data you're putting into it, it just continually learns. It gets better and better and better, and it can learn from itself. And so this is just one version of AI that's pretty scary, and it kind of, I think most people, when they thought of AI, you think about robots. And we're thinking about displacing the workforce as far as taking out plumbers and all this shit and taking out all the blue-collar working people and taking out people out of factories. But what we're really starting to see is, with tools like this, copywriters, salespeople that cold call people, content creators even, artists, graphic designers, lawyers, teachers, professors, real estate agents that do all the contract writing and stuff like that. This tool could displace a lot of those people, especially as it gets better and better, which is a little bit, I think, mind-blowing for people. Because, yeah, when I first thought about AI, I thought about, it's going to displace the workforce, and we're going to have all these robots everywhere. But it's actually kind of doing the opposite, starting with the digital first, and then once they introduce AI to robotics, that's where we'll start to see some of that displacement of the workforce. But, just some examples like copywriting. Obviously, ChatGPT could do that right now.
Yep.
Like you could have that copyright something great for a sales script, but then, or even like a headline for a piece of content that you want to make or a tweet or something. It could probably get all that data and create the best damn headline that you could think of to get the most retweets and likes and stuff like that. There was actually a guy, I can't remember what his name was. He created his most viral tweet was created by AI software. And nobody knew that until he told him a week later that that tweet was created by AI.
Yep.
And people were like, holy shit, because it was his most viral piece of content he ever tweeted out. So that's one example. Salespeople, if you think about people that are on sales calls and they have the sales script and all this shit, think about if the AI is constantly collecting that data, but the other thing about AI is it could work on that phone calling people and answering customers' questions 24/7 because it doesn't need to sleep. Yep. They already have AI to the point where it mimics humans' voices. It mimics people's voices. So you can have an AI software system always cold calling and has the most ideal sales script possible. Plus, it's gaining experience every call it makes and getting better and better and better and better and better.
Learns from its mistakes.
Learns from its mistakes.
Successes, and it just gets better and better and better.
Right.
So, one thing that we got started talking about that I think it isn't like you can say this is scary and you can say this is going to happen, this isn't going to happen. I think that it's definitely going to happen because the world's hunger for knowledge and technology and
innovation
is just going to pull it that way. But
you got the biggest corporations in the world like Google, Microsoft.
Yeah.
They're all developing this shit. They're not going to stop.
Right. So what you and I were talking about, though, let's think about what does that mean for education? Mm-hmm. Because today we spend a lot of money in this country on education, and a lot of that is to have kids memorize stuff, and more, part of that is figuring out where to find. Today, it's as much about figuring out where to find information as it is to memorize it, because everybody knows that these kids are going to Google this and Google that and all that. But it's the thought process and how to find that information. But if we're headed to a time where anything you need to know is right at the tip of your tongue, because when you connect voice with AI, and today, you ask Siri to turn on the lights at your
usually
house,
sucks.
and she's terrible at it.
Yeah.
But when you get an AI that's so good that anything that you want to know, you don't even have to go look for it. You just ask for it, and that AI is going to bring it. Well, then what do I need? What do I need to pay to go to college for? Mm-hmm. What is it that sets me apart or sets college apart that there's some reason I have to go there to do it? And you say, well, doctors and lawyers. Well, doctors may be one of the last things. However, when you couple AI with robotics and the robotics get good enough, are you going to want a human surgeon or are you going to want an AI surgeon?
That's the smartest in the world.
That's the smartest in the world. That's plugged into the best database in the world that doesn't have the shakes. Yeah. Or, I'm just saying those are all questions that have to get asked and figured out. But you think about lawyers, that's what we go back to. We thought it was going to be the guy putting the plastic button in the widget at the factory that was going to be the first people to be displaced. And they very well may be displaced when we get robotics and AI together. But your lawyer, just know you're paying him for that expertise to know the law Well, when you have access to every law book ever written, and you can just say, hey, write me a contract for this business, and I want to specialize in this.
And it shoots it out like nothing. Yep.
Is that lawyer going to be worth $250 an hour when he's competing against AI that you can meet with in your bathrobe and you don't have to put a retainer down? I mean, that's where it starts to get really... The world is going to look a lot different than it does today.
And the teachers and back to this education, teachers and professors now are even a little worried about ChatGPT, and it's in its third version. But because kids are going to take the topic they're supposed to write an essay on, and they're just going to put it into ChatGPT. And right now, it's not as great as people are hyping it up to be. There are mistakes in what it creates, but it's learning. And as versions continue to roll out, it's going to be so good that it's going to give you the perfect essay.
But you see...
And professors and teachers can get pissed at kids all they want, but if I'm the kids, I'd do the same fucking thing.
But you see, I'd be the smart kid because if I made a perfect essay, they know that I didn't write it.
Yeah.
So I'd want to use like version 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So it has
Well, yeah, I
mistakes.
mean, I'm sure they dumb it down a little bit to match their what their track record is. I mean, that's probably what I would have done too.
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, all those examples Dad gave, it is coming. And the world is going to look very different when AI gets introduced. And there are kind of 3, and I've kind of took these from people that I've heard talk about AI. And these are kind of 3 major pillars of your daily life that AI will affect. And
one of these is very surprising.
One of them is surprising, but you really think about it, it kind of isn't. I mean, we talked about all this data. Think about romance and relationships. So there probably will be tools out there that will help you seduce better. Yeah, you heard me right. Seduce. Dad, you don't need that because you got that in spades, don't you?
Well,
you don't need any AI.
I don't want to brag.
Yeah. But, there will be AI tools that analyze millions of Tinder conversations, adding your information around it, and creating the best opening lines for you. This is the texting version. There also will be another version where AI will make phone calls on your behalf with your voice, similar to Google Assist. You'll have AI services that will help you be more attractive on the phone and speak on your behalf to secure the date that you want.
Yeah.
Does that not seem, I mean, yeah, that's crazy, but that's definitely possible with the technology that we're seeing just out of ChatGPT.
Yeah, so I saw a story, just a lady was talking about that she met a guy on a dating app, and they texted back and forth, and then they talked on the phone back and forth, and then she actually met him, and when she met him, she realized that the pictures that he had on his profile were all like 10 years old, because he didn't look like that anymore. And when you were talking about that, I just thought, we think of that situation as one-sided, but think of the outcomes where you have 2 people that are both using AI. Think of the level of surprise when those 2 people meet and realize that neither one of them are as smart as what they came across being on that platform.
And so that's where I do get a little like, where does the human interaction come into play? As far as, yeah, you can bluff all you want on social, but when you actually get in on that real life date, you're both gonna smell it out. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm iffy about. Yeah, it's gonna be awkward, right? That's where I don't know where that falls into play. But like, you want to talk about scammers and OnlyFans and cam girls that are on these cams all the time. They have the perfect script to get the guy to send them money. They have the perfect script to cash app them. You know what I mean?
They'll have a program running. They won't even be doing the chats.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I think a lot of them don't do the chats now. But it'll all be automated to
AI.
try to get the maximum amount of money, tips, however that works.
Mm-hmm. Well, other thing that's really scary about the romance part is if robotics get into it, and they make robots look just like humans and feel just like humans. Not to go there, but just saying. Well, that's where that gets really scary, because we thought we had a funny idea. Okay, well, if robots come into the mix and they get mixed with AI and they have the best, they can flirt with guys like it's nothing, or guys can flirt with girls like it's nothing because they're AI and they're robots, and you can't tell if they're human or if they're robots. What about guys that just buy 50 robots, they have them in a warehouse, and they send them on the corner every night, and they just collect paper because they're the best.
A long time ago, when we got on one of our Tesla tirades, we were talking about robo-taxis. And Sawyer, when that first started, Sawyer's like, dang it, we need to get like a warehouse. We need to buy like 30 Teslas, and then we could just send them out. And I told him, I said, this is perfect. You get 30 Teslas, and you get 30 prostitute robots, and you have the robo-taxis take the robo-hookers, and it's like, they drop the hookers off, then they get a few fares, they pick the hooker up, you take them both to the car wash, and then you send them out again. Yeah. It's a money-making, holy cow.
Insane. It's insane. Yeah, but that's kind of the romance part, and the robotics part we haven't really seen it. It's not close to coming out yet, but I believe that they're trying to make robots, when they do come out, to probably look and feel just like humans, because there's a business there. And that part really does scare me. But
let's face it, a lot of these people that are working on these robotics, they're the people that could never get a date. So there's a lot of incentive, for them to
create the best partner they could.
Exactly, because they're tired of getting shot down. That's how they got straight A's at MIT, because they had nothing else going on.
They had to focus on their work.
I'm sorry if you got straight A's at MIT. I'm not bagging on you. Thank the good Lord for you, because you're making the world a better place. Unless you're working on robo hookers, and then maybe you need to do a little soul searching.
Maybe you need to do a little soul searching. Oh my gosh.
Hey, on that though, not to try to jump around, but one thing that I saw just the other day, and I don't remember where it was. I think it was somebody's retweet. Somebody had put a picture of a photo. It was a picture. It was like a piece of art that had been recreated by AI, and the thing was like, try to tell these apart, which is which. And one of the comments was, only buy, or no AI artwork. That was the tweet. It just was no AI artwork. And you and I talked about this, how there will be a backlash when this gets rolling. There'll be a backlash where people will market against AI, just like that. They'll be like, all of our operators are all human operators, like all human salesmen. All our art is like some art gallery will be all human art, no AI art.
Right.
And
like,
it's just,
I was thinking about because you think about, if you ever started a business, would you have robots in your warehouse? Would you not? And it's like, well, are you going to be an all human company, or are you going to be a all AI company, or are you going to have both? And those are things that you gotta think about. But I was just thinking, like, I do see that. Like, we have Made in America now. Made by humans, 100% made by humans.
Yep.
That will totally be a tagline.
Yep.
That'll totally be a tagline. And I'm not saying all this is good, folks. I just don't know what you can do about stopping it. Well, there's no stopping it. And we're gonna have to adopt it and use it to the best we can possibly use it. And some of it you may use, some of it you might not use. I don't know, but it's coming.
Well, the conversation needs to be had, and I will give Elon Musk credit in the fact that he's been sounding the alarm on AI for over a decade about how we need to get ahead of it and we need to slow down, because the technology is going to outrun the ethics. I've heard him say that many times. And that's because that's the problems you're going to run into, is the technology is going to be there. It's a question of, how do we use that technology, and is it in the best interest of humanity to use it that way? What are the ethics of it?
Yeah.
And that's where the battle's going to be, and that's where it needs to be, because there has to be there has to be checks and balances about how this technology is rolled out and at what rate, because...
And who can use it and who cannot use it. Like, we don't want former felons...
Oh, yeah.
Using every goddamn tool AI they can possibly use to go blow up a school or something, you know, because hey, AI, what's the best way to create, you know, something that's a bomb or something? You know, you don't want that. You don't want those people accessing that information and giving them the step-by-step play to do some crazy ass shit.
Yeah, it is a strange new world. And let's not kid ourselves. You know, we've talked about several things where we said, well, that's only if, you know, AI joins with robotics.
Well, they're working towards it.
But that's going to happen way sooner than anybody thinks, because it's the next logical step. And before you know it, we're going to be having those conversations. And so if you think we have moral dilemmas and just questions about, you know, what are we going to do as a society as AI gets better? Well, those questions just get multiplied when you couple that with robotics.
Yeah. I'm going to continue on with my pillars here. So we had the first one was romance and relationships.
Yes.
Second one, how business operates. So we kind of were off a little bit there. The three major pillars of your daily life that AI will affect. We had first was romance and relationships. Second, how business operates. And I talked about this a little bit in the beginning when we first got started, but AI can learn from millions of sales calls and scripts, analyze outcomes, and create better sales calls in a blink of an eye. If you find ways to create efficiencies through AI and how to operate your business will drastically change. And that's just one example of sales scripts. Think about all the law that you got to have for your business and contracts you got to write up and all kinds of stuff. AI is going to be able to automate that for you. So there are some stuff that I think that AI could be very useful for. That's one example of it could be very useful. And I think you won't need as many people to be inside your business doing some stuff, which might be good, might be bad. But I think that's that's a positive thing with AI right there, being able to run your business more effectively.
Yeah, the positives are, and I think this, again, is something that we didn't think about, but I think you're going to see it, is when you think about owning a business, the professional services that you need as far as people to write contracts, people to review contracts that you're both for your employees and people you do business with, people that create ads for you, graphics for you, do editing for you. That may all be things that you can do in-house with a subscription to
AI software. Yep.
So for a business, that's a good thing. Lower your cost. For the economy, may not. It is, and it may not, because then you start thinking about all the people that are going to get displaced by that. And so that's I don't know. That's you got to weigh that out.
That's the pendulum. The third is the economy, and this is where we're kind of getting into that. Capitalism as a system in society will completely change through AI. We will achieve nuclear fusion, hopefully, because I feel like that's the other thing. I mean, yeah, if all these people are displaced of jobs, I think scientifically, and with the use of AI to help us make scientific breakthroughs, I think nuclear fusion would be something that we would achieve. I think scientifically, with the use of AI helping us, we're going to be able to do some crazy ass shit because they're going to help us out. And it's like having Jarvis on your shoulder as Tony Stark and Iron Man. I mean, it's like his little helper. And hopefully that's the way AI would go, is it would make every single person's human experience better and not have one big old conglomerate company controlling everything. That'd be the great thing.
I won't be able to afford Jarvis, so I'll have to get the Jaffo. No, Jaffo, just another fucking observer. I'll have to get the Jaffo version because that'll be the stripped down version.
Yeah, I'll just have to pop out a Javo. I'll have to put one in the oven and just give birth to it, and then that will be my job-o.
There you go.
Because that's the cheaper route. Maybe it's not the cheaper route. I don't know. I don't know how much Jarvis
Depends
would
on
cost.
long term.
Long term, yeah. Yep. And then I also think universal basic income is definitely going to play into society once this goes full board with robotics and AI coming together, because there are simply going to be way too many people to get displaced job-wise, and robots are going to be doing a lot of the bullshit work that a lot of people don't like doing, you know?
We've talked about that, and it's going to start with the jobs that people don't want to do, but then look at where we're at with the number. Mike Rowe had that number on his podcast where he talked about how many men in the United States, young men that are of the working age that aren't working.
Right. It's a big number.
Okay, you take AI robots that displace
the
workers, and then on top of that, the people that there could be work. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because on the one hand, you have jobs available today that people just simply don't want to do. So then when you start replacing those people, then there's no incentive for anybody to work if you have universal basic income. And once you get over 50% of the population that is getting money from the government, those are your voters. So people that rely on government for a paycheck, when they're asked to vote, they usually vote for a bigger paycheck. So once you start down that road, it's a pretty slippery slope.
Yeah, there's some positive to that, and there's definitely some negative to that. That one thing alone. Yeah, and I don't know. I've heard people say tax the robots if they start working, but I mean, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that would work. I don't know. Again, the question becomes, who's going to be the company that develops AI the fastest and becomes the pioneer of the future? Will it be someone who wants you to use AI to better the human experience or to control the masses? Will we go too far in development of AI, which ultimately leads to humans' demise? That's the question we all got to all ask ourselves. If what Dad was talking about, and people give Elon Musk shit about talking about Neuralink, but what Elon would really ideally like to have happen is everybody gets their own individual AI, just like Tony Stark, where
that's what
they have the AI for themselves. Not one group, not one company owns the entire AI network like Google, like Microsoft, where they can pretty much dictate everything that happens with that AI system, versus every individual has their own AI system.
Well,
I like that, having my own, keeping everybody's individual rights, keeping everybody to have their own individual AI, having some I don't know, some rules on what somebody can do with their own AI and what somebody can't do. I think that's the smart route. Will that be the route that comes to fruition? I don't know.
I don't either.
I don't know. I don't think any of us know, but that's the route that we should be hoping does come to the full out and play out.
So Elon's view of AI is that Neuralink, which is an implant.
Where's the implant? In your boob?
No, I think it's in your brain.
Oh, in your brain?
You might be able to have it in your pocket. I don't know. But I think it's in your brain, which I've been informed many times I will not be allowed to get. But maybe it'll come after my demise anyway. But the reason for that is because Elon believes that if left unchecked, you could be dealing with a situation where if humans are not augmented enough that they can be as quick and as knowledgeable as an AI, that AI will ultimately lead to the demise of the human race. So that's
can't really argue with that.
Some freaky shit, but that's his theory on it. I mean, that's his idea. His idea is he wants each individual human to have the opportunity to be as quick and as sharp and be able to consume the knowledge for themselves, to where each and every one of us is a check upon the general AI.
It's like AI and humans collide, and
right.
be one together.
And his idea is if you don't have that AI will achieve.
It'll get smart enough to realize that we're all useless and they don't really need us here.
And you got Skynet. For any of you that grew up through the Terminator saga, you have Skynet, where AI becomes self-aware and realizes that the biggest threat to its existence is humans. So then get rid of all of them.
Yep.
Which is crazy. I realize it's crazy, but I mean, we're going a long ways down the rabbit hole, but the crazy thing is it's not near as far as it was just 5 years ago, 2 years ago. It's definitely, it's a conversation that's going to happen more and more and more.
And it's going to keep getting developed, and AI is only going to get smarter, period. And AI, I don't know if AI has access to all the data on these social media platforms, but if they do, when they do, they know every single person's interests, preferences, what makes them hit the like button, what makes them comment. They know everything about us. So, because all of that data is on those somewhere where all these people interact and do all this shit. So,
what's the safest?
Just be looking out for that. Don't dismiss it. Don't say, oh, that'll never happen, because, folks, it's getting developed. So just be informed about it. Look for stories about it. And I know if it's a little doom and gloom, but we got to try our best to stay informed and
There's
not.
a lot of upside to it.
There is a lot of upside. Yeah, definitely.
But it definitely has some.
It's like we said, it could be the best human experience in history of the entire human race, or it could be the demise of the human race, if not properly handled, and there's some rules to it. And, if it gets in the wrong hands, that also could be a problem. So,
what do you think's the last job that'll be replaced by AI?
Last job that'll be replaced by AI?
Chore and hog buildings.
Chore and hog buildings?
We're safe.
Oh, I don't know. I think they can make a robot pretty easy to do that.
Do you think?
I
don't know. Those pigs are...
They are working with livestock.
Shifty.
They are shifty.
They're shifty.
Yep. You don't know what they're going to do.
And nothing like
Could happen.
they'd like better than to be chewing on a hydraulic actuator.
Here's a better wrap up of that hot topic. If you're a farmer, guess what? Everybody still needs to be fed. So, hey, if you got a bunch of AI in your hog barn and you got a bunch of robots in your hog barns, and you got tractors that are driving themselves, well, that's fine, but you still are the one that's behind the operation, and you're still going to have to feed people. So you're in good shape. We're safe. We're safe. And everybody's going to have somewhere to live. So I think real estate's going to be, none of these people have jobs, they still got to live somewhere. So I think real estate will be a solid.
Hog farmers and slumlords, you're all going
to be fine. You're going to be just fine. Okay,
Speaking of farmers.
Yeah, speaking of farmers, last hot topic. Athlete land investors.
I had not heard about this till you told me.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it until my buddy Chip, shout out to you, Chip, sent me an article talking about, I don't even know if I'm going to try to pronounce this. Petrifico?
Sounds good.
I don't know. See if you can pronounce that.
Yeah, I read it, and
Patrick?
I thought... Petrikoff. I don't know why
company.
They would name that.
I don't know either. It's some corporation.
Petrikoff. That sounds good. We'll
Petrikoff Company has put together an agriculture purchase by a group of professional athletes for $5 million. And I'll list some of the athletes in a bit. But they have teamed up to purchase a farm in Iowa. The farm in question is about 104 acres and produces corn and soybeans. The purchase was made through a $5 million fund they all contributed to, and was set up by that company, which sources investment opportunities for athletes. So that's their whole mission of that company, is to get athletes together, pool their money, and help them invest their money for future gains. This group plans to lease the land to farmers and take single-digit percentage annual return on the total investment, and they are actively planning to buy 4 more farms. They have eyed a watermelon farm in Oregon, and it has potential purchase because they offer higher per acre rent. So they like the watermelon farms because they could charge a little bit more on rent. And this was one of the athletes involved, Chris Middleton. He plays for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's an NBA player. he said, when I looked at the history of returns, especially how U.S. farms have performed over the last 30 years, including during bad times in the economy, the stability is what stood out. He said, according to the Sports Business Journal, I'm always thinking about the long term when it comes to my wealth and how I can provide for my family after I retire. The athletes, the big name athletes involved, Chris Middleton's one of them, but here's some other ones. The known athletes in the purchase is Cincinnati Bengals Joe Burrow, Boston Celtics forward Blake Griffin, NBA guard Kemba Walker, Arizona Cardinals tight end Zach Ertz, Cincinnati Bengals defensive end Sam Hubbard, Toronto Blue Jays pitcher Kevin Kosman. You know any of them guys?
I know
Select
Burrows.
Few. Joe Burrow.
Well, and I know Blake Griffin.
Yeah. So that is, that's a little concerning, I think. Here's what I'll say when I start. If I was in those guys' shoes, and I'm a farm kid, if I went to the NFL and I made some money, I'd be doing the same damn thing that they're doing. I mean, truthfully, you can't fault the guys and you can't hate on success, because that's what you're going to tell the universe, is that you hate success and you're never going to get it. So kudos to these guys for, getting out there and investing their money and doing their thing. I can't hate on that. I can't hate on success. And if I was in their shoes, I'd probably be doing the same thing.
Really, this is no different. We talked about this probably 5 years ago, before we were ever doing any of this, because you being big football fan and playing football, Jordy Nelson.
Yep.
Jordy Nelson is from Kansas.
Yep, cattle ranch.
And wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers.
Went to the Raiders.
Yep. And that kid, not a kid, he took all that money that he made playing pro ball, went back to Kansas, and bought up a shitload of ground, and him and his brothers and his
whole family,
family raised cattle out there. And I'd be willing to bet you that he spent more than $5 million probably buying up all the dirt that he did. I don't even know if there's a number on what he did, but he basically did the same thing before anybody was really talking about it.
Yep. But he's a pretty private guy too.
Yeah, he is.
I don't even know if he has a social
Jordy,
media.
if you're listening, we'd love to have you.
Yeah,
on.
I'd love to have Jordy Nelson on the podcast.
Not sure whether he's a listener yet. He should be, though.
Yeah, send it to him if you know him. That'd be awesome.
But I think this is just this. So that group that brought this to those athletes, it's the hot thing now. Farmland is the hot thing. You've seen the stories about Bill Gates. You've seen the stories about all these companies. You've seen the stories about the Chinese coming over here and buying farmland. The stock market's in the shitter. The real estate market, everybody thinks that's in a bubble and it's going to collapse. People who have money are looking for ways to diversify. And if you look at farmland, what's it done over the last 20 years? Done nothing but go up. And so they look at that, and I thought that was interesting. He said, that guy they interviewed,
Chris Middleton,
he said if you look at farmland over the last 30 years, okay, well, it's 2022.
2023.
So 30 years would be, what, 93? Yep. 2093 or 1993.
Yep.
Well, I can tell you for a fact that since 1993, farmland has done nothing but appreciate. Now then, if you want to look at it on a 50-year, it might not look quite like that. I mean, obviously, still, it's worth way more today than it was 50 years ago. But there was a hell of a bubble in there where it went up and then it collapsed. And now we've gone all this time. So my question is, what do all these people do if, and I don't know, but if we hit that bubble and the value behind their asset collapses? And then the other question I have is, commodity prices are at their highest level ever. Never, ever believe that United States farmers lack the ability to overproduce. Because every time the world has told us that we need all of everything you can produce, we need all you can produce, guess what we've done? We've overproduced, and we've every time that some market specialist, some commodity specialist says, oh, these prices are here to stay, we've reached a new plateau, that is the time to be batten down the hatches, because what's going to happen? All the farmers say, here, hold my beer, and we raise the biggest crops that we've ever raised and flood the market. Commodity prices collapse. Land prices follow, because you can't pay for $20,000 an acre ground. Now, that said,
and you can't rent, can't cash rent either.
Yeah, you can't afford to pay $600.
Well, that's my thing is, like, right now, rent is so high, commodity prices are so high, land prices are so high.
Right.
Like, they're banking on leasing this ground to these farmers, but it's exactly what you say. One of those things fall, it's like a domino effect, and then nobody's going to lease the ground that you're trying to lease out.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
So, as we were talking, the question that I have is this. There is no doubt that land prices have increased for the last 30 years, gone up, gone up, gone up, gone up. Commodity prices are high. Rent is some of the highest rents it's ever been. Okay, if you were the guy that you bought in 1993 or 1995, you feel like the smartest guy in the world because you have seen nothing but the value of your asset go up. But if you're the guy that buys at the end of that run, what happens now? Is it going to continue for another 30 years? Nobody knows. But I have a feeling, I don't know. I think in the long term, American agriculture is going to be very profitable. And I will tell you this, unbiased plug, if you have not listened to Peter Zion's interview on Joe Rogan, go listen to that.
Yeah, go listen to Peter Zion.
If you have not heard that point of view, that shit will blow your mind. And it blew Joe's mind because Joe Rogan about 23 times in there says, holy Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He was like shitting bricks because he never heard that point of view. But he talks in there about American agriculture and in the world order and all that. That said, though, I just question whether or not the people that are buying land today
are going to hold out on it.
Right.
Well, that's my thing. So it's a little different when, like, I look at us and I think about all the family farms out there that have so much legacy behind them, so much history behind them. Their grandfather, their great-grandfather, whoever has been doing this for generations. If we were to buy a farm now, today, and everything tanks, we're going to do our absolute damnness to keep that piece of ground.
Yep.
Because we want to carry it on and pass it on to the next generation. We bleed this shit. We sweat every day. We are in the farm all the time. This is our livelihood. To a professional athlete, it's real easy when you're not doing the farm work. You haven't had generations of blood, sweat, tears be in on that farm that you bought. It's real easy to just say, you know what? Fuck this. Yeah. I'm out of here.
Well, when you're sitting with your manager and your financial guy, we're 3 years from now. You bought this farmland and you're figuring, I don't know what they're figuring. Maybe they're figuring they're going to get an 8% return on their money, but it's guaranteed. Doesn't fluctuate like the stock market. But the real estate market bottoms, stock market bottoms. We're in mid 2024. Stocks start coming back, real estate starts coming back. So I'm sure they're diversified. So they're getting a 20% return on GTP Pro stock, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, yeah.
How long do you think it's going to take them to say, what the hell are we in this? Sell this, because I've got millions of dollars sitting in this farmland. It's not giving me shit. Let's get out. And I don't know. Maybe they don't say that. But I have a feeling, like you said, for the American farmer, so many of us, our farms we burned the boat. There's no leaving. There's no going anywhere. There isn't any place to go. This is it. This is where we've put down our roots, and hell or high water, we're staying. So there's no
Convincing
turning back.
us. Yeah.
But to a land investor, it's like, even if the market softens, am I willing to take a $1,000 an acre loss to get all that equity out that I can go invest where I think I'm going to get 20 or 30% return? Hell yes, I'll do that. Because not only that, if I'm making money, I can take that loss and it'll help me tax-wise. Mm-hmm. And you can carry that loss forward, you can carry that loss back. So I don't feel like these guys are here to stay, and I feel like...
You think if there's any sense of blood in the water, they're out of here? Most of them, probably.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean...
I hope so.
I mean, I hope so, too. If not, it is kind of a threat, and it is a little bit of something to look out for. I mean, it is.
Let's face it,
the question I put in here is, and this story doesn't piss me off, but when I see like their plan going in is, yeah, we're going to buy this and we're just going to lease it out to some poor farmer to be it's almost like, does society view us as this like hired labor? Like, oh yeah, we'll just rent it out to a farmer. He'll do it. You know, like, fuck it. Yeah, they'll just have the farmer do it. The poor old farmer, he'll just lease it out from us and he'll just do all the hard work and we'll just rent it. You know, I kind of don't like that. I don't want that to be the world of agriculture. I don't want all these rich-ass mofos to come in here, buy all this ground, look at us like, we'll just have the poor old farmer do all the work for us, and we'll just collect money from them.
But we're willing to pay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. These farmers, I've said this before on here, but I don't know of any other industry where there are people that are willing to do a full-time job and then go work 2 part-time jobs just so they can afford to do that full-time job. And all across America, there are farmers that the wife works off the farm, the husband has a side hustle, and then they may be selling produce off the farm too from their truck garden just to try to afford to hold on to that piece of ground. Nobody else, I shouldn't say that, but I think it's very unusual that anybody else would do that.
A select group of people.
Most people... If their business was that strapped that they had to work 2 jobs to pay for the one business they had, they wouldn't do it. Mm. And so part of it is our fault because we are so driven that we're willing to pay that rent for the chance to try to farm that. And we all have the mentality that you're like, well, why don't you just say, screw you, we're not paying any of that rent? Well, the reason we do is because if we don't do it, our neighbor will, and we can't have him have it, so we're going to pay to rent it. Mm-hmm. So on the one hand, you can't fault them for doing it because they know they can get it rented. Where the bottom falls out is where the market dictates that rent, and that rent gets to where they're losing money on that investment.
True.
And let's face it, for us, we're just getting to the point where we're trying to, we're building equity. We want to be in a position where when land prices do collapse, that's when we want to be able to buy. Mm-hmm. So I guess the sooner that we all get there and run it to the top and a bunch of people lose their ass is the time that maybe we go buy something.
Maybe it puts all the power back in the farmer's hands because we're like, hell yeah.
But I will say the other part of it is we live in a different world in that we're so connected and so much information is there. There are not the advantages of people not knowing what's out there. So the idea that land is ever going to be cheap, it never will, because now it used to be it was farmers competing against farmers. Now then you're competing against everybody because any type of investor is interested. It's just at what price. Mm-hmm. So land will never be
what it used to be.
Cheap.
Right.
But I believe it'll be
cheaper
to where if you're buying at the high like today, you're going to get your ass handed to you. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all I got. You got anything? Woo! Well, we got one last thing we got to do. That's all the hot topics for today, but we got to cap it off. We got to cap it off just right.
I need a drink.
I need a drink as well. So why don't you pour me up one, bartender?
Okay, so today on Whiskey Minute, we have Bullet bourbon. And I have to say that I had a bottle of this, and I liked it, but I drank it all a long time ago. A friend of mine, Tim, shout out to Tim, I got this. He gave me a bottle of this for Christmas one year. Bullet is a newer, I feel like there's a lot of new brands of whiskey. It seems like there's a new brand all the time, but I feel like Bullet was one of the newer upstarts when bourbon started to come, I guess you'd say, get stylish.
Get popular.
Yeah, when it started getting popular, Bullet was one of those new brands. But it's become very well established, and we actually had more than one person that commented on Barn Talk at barntalkshow@gmail.com that we should try Bullet bourbon. So, with no further ado, I'm going to set us up, and we're gonna try it out today.
Pour it up. I'll watch your skills here. People, you can't even see what he's doing right now, but he's giving me a good old pour. I'm going to announce the pour. So that's that'll do for me. That's about right. So that might be enough for a shot. Could be a little bit more. I have high hopes for Bullet. People have said it's really good. I'm really hoping it's not as bad as the Peaky Blinders whiskey. That was terrible.
The Bushmills Peaky Blinders edition.
The Bushmills Peaky Blinders edition was
that's
not
Prohibition style whiskey.
Yeah, it tasted like Prohibition whiskey because it was terrible.
Check out these glasses.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Whistler, my wife got me these for Christmas.
Yep.
These are, I really like them. They're real nice.
Yeah, they are
nice. They got good weight to them. So
yeah.
Anyway, so Bullet bourbon.
Bullet bourbon. What's the toast for today? Cheers to Trisha.
Cheers to Trisha. That's right.
Cheers to Mom
for
the fucking awesome glasses.
She wouldn't like that you swore right there.
Well,
you got to keep it clean.
Got to keep it clean. Maybe I should just wash my mouth down with
cleanse
your
palate.
My mouth, cleanse my palate, wash it down. I don't know.
Whoa!
I don't know, Dad.
Whoa! I don't think I can hide that one.
No, I can't either. You're speechless.
Well, I was just trying to think, like...
I wasn't expecting that at all.
So many bourbons have, that... so many bourbons have that caramel... they can be sharp on the front or sharp on the back, and that was really just rough.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster.
I think Bullet is a good name for that, because
it kind of
hit me like a bullet.
Kind of hits you, yeah. Kind of shoots you.
It really wasn't smooth on the front.
No.
It has pretty good burn on the front, and it definitely has burn on the back end, and it doesn't have much flavor.
No.
It really doesn't have. So, and when I say that,
you need some water. You got to water that down. Big old ice cube, maybe.
Coke.
Yes, maybe some Coke. Maybe some Coke. Maybe that's how we should rank them.
Yeah,
water, ice cube, or just Coke.
That's a mixer.
To
me, that's a mixer bourbon. That's not a sipping bourbon.
No.
That is, if I go to the bar and I've had a shit day and I want a shot of something to take the edge off, I would order that. Give me a double and
shoot me right in the chest. Give me a bullet. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, not one of my favorites, I'll have to say.
No.
What do you rate it?
Hey,
what do you rate
it? That?
Yeah.
Oh, I rate
out of 10.
1 out of 10?
Just out of 10.
Out of 10? Oh, I don't know. It wasn't as bitter as some that we've had. I'd say it's a 5, probably.
5.
Middle of the road.
Yeah. Not terrible. Not too good, though.
Hey, I'm going bourbon hunting Saturday, though.
Nice.
A friend of the show sent me a picture of a barrel strength barrel proof, single barrel Elijah Craig at a liquor store about an hour away from us. And I like Elijah Craig. A lot of people, I don't know whether they like it or not, but I really like it. They're barrel proof and their small batch are all good. Anyway, he sent me a picture and there's a store pick. And I told Trish, I said, you want to go to the Manas? And she said, sure. So we're going to go to the Manas, and then we're going to go up north there and hit this liquor store and get a bottle. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap us up. So thank you to every single one of you. I know that we say that every time, but, honestly, being able to do this every week is one of the things that I look forward to, and I know Sawyer does too. The feedback is great. Just so many good comments, and being able to get to know people through their comments and people that we run into that listen to the show and look forward to it. We appreciate the shit out of it. On Spotify, you can leave a comment now. Please comment. Give us a review. Tell us what you think. Send your questions. Send your comments. Your bank account number. Whatever you want to do, send it to us at barntalkshow@gmail.com. And we'll be back here next week. So thanks for watching.